Come on in, gentlemen. Come on in.
The gang's all here.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the second episode of the Mood Lifters. We're going to call this episodes or maybe live calls. We'll call it episodes. It sounds cooler.
Yeah, episode sounds better.
And today we're going to be essentially talking about exercise and depression, but Chris and Grant will be doing some of the talking. I can kind of chime in and stuff. I will tell you this up front, guys. Exercise was basically my catalyst to managing mental health. And when I say catalyst, it's more so one of those things where it started my mental health journey, basically. There we go.
It's only the second episode. We're expected to have still technical issues.
We're going to have plenty of technical difficulties
as
throughout.
we figure this out.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yes,
I got you. Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right.
At least we got video this time. Glad to see you.
Yeah. Hey, easy enough to do. Zoom is much simpler than whatever we were.
I feel the same too, because like I like StreamYard. Don't get me wrong. It's like I could press two buttons and let it work, but the only problem with that is it's all browser based, so it's really awkward. And then Zoom is like an app, and it's like a smooth transition with everything. So
sure.
But anyway, guys, we will be talking about exercise. I mentioned this before. We will be talking about exercise and depression. Essentially, I will have Chris and Grant. I'll have you guys talk about what's been going on this week, and then I'll kind of chime in a little bit, and then you guys know I'm just like a super big advocate on exercise for mental health. So we will definitely get started. Who wants to start first?
I don't mind starting it. All right, awesome. So what's been going on this past week? So basically for me, I don't know what it was. Like last week we had our mood lifters call, and I got amped, right? I don't know what it was. I just been riding some sort of high ever since the last call. As far as like actually working out, I made it to the gym 3 times. Since then I recorded 2 of them. I didn't get a chance to record the third one, but I made it there 3 times. I felt like sore afterwards, but before I felt like I would even work. It's like even like a month ago I would still work out, and then the next day I would feel sore and just tired and like just drained of energy. I don't know, even though I'm still feeling sore and tired from the workout, I'm not really feeling drained of energy. I feel like something just kind of started clicking in my mind to make just to make me in a better mood overall. A few weeks ago I was talking to one of my mentors, and I was going over and I was saying, oh man, should I really try and pursue this goal of mine? Should I really try and chase my dreams? And he gave me a hard talk, and he was just like, just quit. If you're gonna have these doubts, then don't even go for it. Just quit. And it was ever since then, because after that call, I was like, nah, screw you. I ain't gonna quit. This is what I want to do. And and I kind of had like a self-talk to myself. But it was like ever since then, I don't know. It's just I feel like everything has just been clicking a lot easier. I've just been in a much better mood. I've been working a lot more for sure. And it's just been easier, I think, to achieve these goals because I'm not putting as much pressure on myself, like to get to the gym or to weight loss or stuff. So even on the days when I didn't go to the gym, I made sure I got out and I at least, spent some time outdoors, went on a walk with my dogs, just even something small. And that even started, making me in a much better mood than whenever I was starting to get upset or angry or depressed. And so overall, I think it was a very, very good week for me.
That's awesome.
Love to hear it. Grant, what about you?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest. The beginning of this week was really difficult for me emotionally. You get that seasonal depression kicking in there for those who are familiar with it, or as someone like myself would just call it, depression. But Monday was a really, really difficult day for me. Just dealing with a lot of stuff in the household and in the personal life where I'm trying to figure out a lot of stuff. But the mood was just really low for me on Monday, and I had, opposite of Chris, I had zero more motivation. And when that blanket just kind of goes over you, it's really hard to throw it off and get moving again. But we got to lift our moods, guys. So I still pushed myself. I even though I was down in the dumps, I still went out and got my 10,000 steps. Still been getting my 10,000 steps. Haven't gone to the gym yet this week with my roommate. He's the one who takes me with him, but we'll probably go. We'll probably get back to it on the start of next week since he'll be out of town for the weekend. But I'm still going to make sure I hit my 10,000 steps. I actually just went to California Adventure yesterday, and I was there from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So clocked almost 23,000 steps yesterday. When I got home, I don't remember falling asleep. But when I got home, I made sure I had some of my BCAAs. I made sure I had some of the reforged synergy for mood and restoration. And
I was gonna say, Chris, I gotta send you that, but go ahead, Grant.
And I was really concerned. I was thinking to myself on the way home, I was like, my God, I'm so sore and exhausted. And I was worried that I was going to wake up this morning and have, not have the body capable of doing my steps. But I woke up and I'm not sore at all. And I'm just like, I'm super thankful that I took my BCAAs and my Synergy. So I feel like I can get my steps in for today as well. As far as food goes for the week, my food was a little bit off, I can say for sure. Especially going to California Adventure, the reason we'd gone was because they were having a food and wine festival, which is a lot of good. We were eating all this food, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, there's like no fiber in any of this food. it's like IPA hot dogs, sliders, empanadas, and like all this. Like, just don't get me wrong, delicious food, but I was definitely thinking I was like, man, I'm definitely not making any progress. And the hitting the steps was pretty inspiring to me, because it's like, man, I did not think I was going to do 22,000 steps. But let me tell you, there was a lot of soreness when I was doing it. There was a lot of times where I was like, I need to sit down and breathe. But it really didn't help that it was 102 degrees at Disneyland. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough one, but had fun. Got the steps in.
So it's California Adventures. Is that part of Disneyland?
So Disneyland is half of it's Disneyland, and then they also have like a secondary theme park on the same premises. That's California Adventure. It's like California.
Okay. Oh, awesome. A Midwesterner like myself doesn't know these things.
No problem.
Dude, that weather here, California weather, I'm wearing a tank right now. You can see my bulk and chest hair and everything. Like,
yeah, right.
But I was gonna say, Grant, like I absolutely love that. You have that foundational, like you have your goal. That's like the foundational goal, and you've been hitting it consistently, regardless of how rough the days have been. And I feel like that's something that's really helped you a lot. Like you have this goal. You're like, I'm gonna hit this goal every day, and if I need to hit it every day. And if I go over, like you went to like a massive amount, and they're like on that one day with California Adventure, where's the 23,000 steps. But regardless, the next day you're like, oh, I'm still getting my 10,000 steps in. Mm-hmm. That is like a no compromise. Like, I feel like if you have that foundational no compromise type of thing, I think majority of that consistency through exercise should come from that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I definitely had like that little demon on my shoulder. I was like, Grant, you got 20,000 steps in. You did your steps for tomorrow. You can take a little vacation for tomorrow. But I slapped that down really quick. I was like, no. This was the steps for today. There's still steps that need to be done tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. Still got to do the steps every day. No questions asked.
That's freaking cool, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like one of those things like back in the day where I would be like, I don't really do much calorie tracking anymore, but when I would do those type of calorie tracking things, I would always be like, okay, I ate this much, a little bit more today, and tomorrow I'm going to eat less, and that never happened. So I was always eating
clean slate, and we forgot about yesterday.
Clean slate.
But yeah, dude, I love to see you guys, like, regardless of the rough days and stuff, like, you guys are pushing on, and it's awesome to see. It really fires me up because it holds me accountable myself. I've been feeling this week, with everything that's been going on in my personal life, there's a lot of moving pieces. So I'm trying to organize it right now. And I feel like I'm all over the place. So like the last thing on my mind was exercise, but I still got it in somehow because I was able to squeeze it in. Like, you guys know that I have my other personal training job, and like in between sessions, if somebody canceled, I'm like, oh, sweet, I can fit, my exercise in between there. But regardless, like if that wasn't going to happen at the end of my shift, which would have been like 7 p.m., I would have been like, I got to get a workout in. So I've just been working on that. Like, and it just habitually ingrained in me that I have to get these 4 days of gym sessions in for myself. But I feel like once you build that consistency, you have that kind of baseline goal where you're like, I got to hit this, whether it's like everyday daily physical activity, or whether it's as I mentioned in a previous video, I'm like 4 hours a week of moderate intensity exercise has been shown to help with mood boosts and improvements. And that could be just a brisk walk or weightlifting or things like that. So that's like the baseline goal. But if you can kind of work yourself up towards that and having that foundational goal, I feel like that eventually over time, you're going to catch up to that and you'll start to notice the benefits. And this is like as a result of research that's been done. It's basically shown like, oh, this is like the happy medium. This is the ballpark that you should be in. This is the mood boosting ballpark. So in a challenge that we will be talking about a little bit later, I feel like 10 to 15 minutes of physical activity is a good start, but then you can do something along the lines of what Grant has done as well, where it's like, if you don't typically walk and your goal is to get those 10,000 steps in, you have that baseline foundation, you work towards that every day.
I think the key is to be persistent, right? Just show up. I was actually watching a video the other day, and I can't remember what it was about, but overall, I remember them stating that there's one guy who lost like a bunch of weight, and he just showed up to the gym. That's all he did for like the first year. He would just show up to the gym for 5 minutes, like put his stuff in the locker room, be like, all right, I'm here, and then he would leave, right? And then he just kind of got in this habit, and then eventually he was like, all right, well, we're going to do one exercise and leave. Then, all right, let's do 2 exercises and leave. And it just kind of he just kept showing up and being persistent, even on the days when he felt like crap, and just doing, like you're saying, that baseline thing. And eventually it just grew to the point where he lost all this weight. So I always thought in my head before, you always had to go hard, right? All right, we're going to start working out. So we're going to 100% eat clean. We're going to go to the gym every day. We're going to, make sure we're there for 4 hours a day. We're doing all this hardcore stuff, and that's cool for like a week. And then, and then it's like, oh, this is terrible. I hate my life.
Sore.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Just start with something small, just baseline it, and then just be persistent with it.
I would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. But I also think a lot about, when we talk about consistency, I also think about, like as my Monday went, is that just as we all have our own personal lives, that we're also going to encounter instances where we get discouraged, or instances where things get in the way, and adopting something along the lines of like Tony had said, where it's finding the lining that's in between the instances to sneak in a workout, or sneak in a quick little walk or something, or even finding accountability where you might not have found it before. I live with 4 pit bulls, and because I've been walking every single day, one of them has started like waiting outside my bedroom door in the morning because she knows I'm going on a walk. So when I get outside my bedroom door, she follows me all the way downstairs, and she starts woofing at me that she wants to go for a walk, sitting next to her leash. It's like, okay, fine, you're my walking partner, let's go. I know Chris had said he has some dogs as well.
Yeah, dogs are the best.
I love them. Can't go wrong. I mean, I know people want cats, but I just don't think that's the same thing.
Cats will dip. They'll just disappear. Like you're walking them and they're like, all right, screw you.
There's some
I'll see you in
people
7
online
hours.
that have. There's some people online that have their cats on a leash. I don't know how they do it.
I gotta hand it to them. It's actually really shocking to me. But I was gonna say, guys, like there's a lot of examples. Like I've seen people similar along the lines of what Chris said. There's this guy I like on Instagram. His Instagram handle, I think it's called Heavy to Modified. He's lost so much weight, and all he does is just like, I go work out. Like he just every day he's in the gym or he's like doing some sort of physical activity. And it doesn't even have to be like an intense session, but he just shows up and he just breaks a massive amount of sweat. And I feel like if you have something like that where it's like this initiates this thing where, for example, I am pretty sure in the book Atomic Habits, they've actually mentioned this, where this one guy would say, oh, I would go to the gym for I told myself I'm going to go to the gym for 5 minutes. And then over time, that 5 became 10, that 10 became 20, and so on. And I feel like it's just like wherever your zone of physical activity is, you just got to get there, right? It's, for some, it's going into the gym. For others, just going outside. It could be, I have a standing bag right out here and I can do some physical activity. If I just put myself in that area for a couple of minutes, the next thing you know, I'm hitting the bag. So it's like, there's always, you just have to keep it in your vicinity or work towards getting motivated to get into your car to initiate that drive. And you just got to find what works best for you, because everyone is different. It's all individually different. And I feel like that's like one of the hardest parts about fitness, because everyone's like, oh, give me this cookie cutter plan and everything's going to happen. Like, it's just, okay, if you give me your program, everything's going to work. And it's not necessarily true. Like you could look at a program with some examples and work towards that. But I feel like you have to have that foundation of exercise consistency before you even try some sort of, structured program. I feel like you have to have that flexibility first and kind of understand what works best for you before you even jump towards like things like that. So,
yeah. No, I agree. I can see that.
It only makes sense.
Well, so so what do you guys do whenever you're feeling your downdest, your lowest, I guess? What do you guys do to make your mood go up?
Tony, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So I do a lot of things actually. Like I personally will. Oh, it's always initially now. It's like when I'm stressed or I'm feeling down or anything like that. The physical activity is inevitability for me. I mean, I'm there now. In the past, there was a lot of it, like me escaping from my life into video games and stuff, which is not necessarily bad. But then when it ends up being like a 10-hour shift, like I would used to call them those work shifts and stuff. Like you're just like, dude, I just wasted my whole day on that. Like it could have been a couple hours. Yeah. But now it's just like, it's physical activity, it's journaling, it's working on, stuff like this for my brand and stuff. I feel like it excites me. It energizes me. It invigorates me. So like, it's things like that. And with physical activity, I could catch myself doing push-ups. I've been working on finger push-ups and those are really hard. But like, if I'm feeling down, I'm like, I'm going to try to do an extra couple to see if I can push my boundaries. And it's just like every little thing. Like I'm always trying to get 1% better every day, whether it's like some random exercise, some really stupid exercise in the eyes of people. Like, and like, if you guys seen my videos in the gym, or if you saw me at the gym, you would think I'm kind of crazy because I'm always trying something different every day. Like a lot of my people I work with actually make fun of me because they're like, dude, I see you trying to attempt to do handstands and stuff. You're looking kind of crazy. Like I'm like, I'm okay with that because it makes me happy. Dude, it makes me feel good.
You're just trying to go anime mode,
bro. That's what I'm like. Yeah, I'm working towards the anime characters. Have you seen? I'm gonna show you some stuff, the Grant, that I've been trying to do, like some obnoxiously like.
I know you've been trying to do a lot of Inosuke stuff.
Okay, you've seen it. I've been working towards that. But there's a lot of hard ones, dude, especially like the spine, you have to really like, I can't really fold my spine like that.
Dude, he's flexible. I get it. You got to start doing some hardcore yoga to get there.
Oh, and yoga, dude, I was going to mention too, I actually read this study on yoga. It's like, it's for like this is probably on topic, off topic, but it was more so for, this might help some people with like injuries and stuff. Like they did this study on some animals and they found that isometric holds, like holds like in joint damaged areas, like it's like, you know, knee holds and stuff like that, for a long period of time, helped with restoring joint recovery, like restoring the joints. So if you have some like prior injury or doing some type of prehab or rehab work, some type of yoga based exercises that work to tailor towards that might actually benefit you. So there is some merit to yoga. And I will tell you this, I've done yoga before, and those prolonged holds make you break a sweat like crazy. It's not even a joke. It humbles you, man.
I had done a yoga, not a yoga class, but I did a weightlifting class when I was living in Oregon, and we did yoga once a week. And those days would always kick my butt. But I was always a pretty flexible kid. But as I've grown older, I've definitely noticed some of my flexibility starting to go down the drain. And I definitely recommend yoga for that kind of thing, like helping people regain some of that flexibility that they might have lost. Because there's nothing worse than when you're trying to do just like a simple activity and then your body's just like, nah, that's not happening. We used to be able to do that, but not no more, bucko.
Not no more.
I would consider that movement too. Like even though it's a static hold, I
No,
would consider
absolutely.
that movement. Because your body's just like, no, it doesn't want to go there. And you're like, yes.
Because you got to push it, you got to hold it, you got to stretch it. It's one of those things where it's like it's something that's simple that you can do at home, where it's like if you're not quite there as far as getting out and hitting the pavement, like for me, impact is a pretty big problem for me, just because I'm 480 something pounds, and walking that 10,000 steps, that's 5 miles of impact of the extra 200 something pounds that I have on my body for every step. But yoga doesn't quite have that impact on your joints and stuff, just stretching out the muscles and helping get a little bit more of your loosening up the flexibility that's already, there in the baseline.
Since we talked about, the little movement stuff, I wanted to ask you, Chris and Grant, how you, when you're feeling down, what do you guys typically do?
Well, as I've already stated before, I love to eat my emotions. Monday I was really down in the dumps, and I went and I got Carl's Jr. and I ate it, and it made me feel even worse about myself. I was like, man, I can't believe I ate that. It tasted really good, but I just, once you're cognizant of what you're putting in your body at any given time in your health journey, and you start to learn what you're eating, and then you kind of stray away from that path where it's like, okay, I had chicken and Brussels sprouts and some organic beans last night, but here I am having a breakfast burger with bacon just dripping with fat. Just that burger alone is like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
And then having like the hash browns on the side and the Coke. I eat all this food, and then I'm feeling even lower after having had it, because like I'm cognizant of what's in there and what I just put into my body. But I think that's some pretty groundbreaking stuff for somebody to get to that point, where it's learning how to eventually recognize those situations. But for my experience on Monday, I was pretty down for the vast majority of the day, and then finally I asked my roommate to go for a walk, and I pushed myself to get my 10,000 steps, and had a really good talk with him, and just kind of aired out all my frustrations. And I think that because I'm a very talkative person, I'm a very emotional person, I think that the best way to do it is not holding it in. I don't suggest ever suppressing it or jarring it up, because when I was in high school, I came up with this saying. It's like, you can only fit so much into a jar until the lid pops off. And coming from high school, I was a pretty angry kid. I was a pretty grumpy kid from a crummy childhood. But I've definitely learned a lot more how to just speak my emotions out, to kind of just get them out there, get them out in the air, and try and push myself to become a little bit more open, a little bit more free. Because if I wasn't, I felt kind of like I felt suppressed, depressed, and under duress.
Chris, what about you?
So there's a few things I do now, and it's something that it took me about the last 6 months to try and learn and try and figure out. And this is with the help of other coaches and other people. If you guys haven't listened to the audiobook called Believe It, but I can't think of the author's name right now. But basically, it's a really good book. I'm almost through it right now. But Believe It is about this girl. I think her name is Jamie. She sold her cosmetics company for like $1 billion, right? It was in the bees for a lot of money, right? And
Wow.
and her book is about her journey. Her and her husband starting this like cosmetics brand from their apartment, and going through it and dealing with all the haters and all the people who were bringing them down and all the struggles of business in general. And eventually how they made it to the point where they're like, oh, we're being acquired by L'Oreal and these other big companies for millions of dollars. And they're still trying to like make a push to change in the beauty industry to see what they want to happen, and they're still being crapped on for it, even like by big time players. And so the message that I get from the book, and something that I think is really important, is she talks a lot about turning down and turning up different microphones. Every person in your life has a microphone, right? Or you hold the microphone and you're holding it up to the mouth of every person in your life. And the people who are just shitting on you, or they're bringing you down, maybe not even on purpose, it's just if they're a downer in general and they're bringing you down, you got to turn their microphone down, meaning like you don't need to listen to them as much. But if you got people who are trying to give you genuine feedback, whether it's good or bad, or people who you actually trust, and people who maybe not yes men, but people who are hyping you up, turn their volume up, because you take on the mood and the feelings of the top 5 people that you listen to. So before, I'm still a big movie guy, a big movie TV show guy. And when I'm watching like these crime documentaries, or these very like gnarly shows and whatnot, and it's all like kind of super depressing, that kind of just put me in a more depressing mood, because that's what I was constantly bringing into my life. So I kind of turned that stuff down, started hanging around more people, and even like the top 5 voices in my life aren't actually people I know. It's podcasts and YouTubers and people that I follow. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't have to be that. But the other thing I started doing is, if it'll show up here, I got this journal thing online. But basically what I do in the morning every day is I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. What am I grateful for in my life? And, it might be my dogs, might be my family. It might be that I'm just taking a shot on myself, or that, hey, you know what? I woke up and I didn't hit the snooze button 15 times. Whatever it is you're grateful for, And then I clearly outlined 3 goals that I want to hit today. And at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, if I hit these 3 goals, like that'll make today great. And then I structure my day with a schedule specifically designed to hit these goals. And if I don't hit the goals, I don't hit the goals. But the point is that you give it a shot, and you got to be a little flexible with your schedule. But at the end of the day, you also write down 3 things you're grateful for at night before you go to bed. So that's something I started doing. The other thing I started doing is I went through a class called No Fail New Year, and I got this like 5-page document here that it's 5 pages because it's bigger font, and double space, so it's not like it's that much. But basically I wrote out my perfect day for what I want January of 2023 to look like. I want to weigh this. It starts off where, for the gym part, I mentioned here, after getting dressed, I sip my warm coffee and lightly play with my dogs in the yard. Feeling as light as I have all year, I eat a healthy breakfast of eggs, toast, jam, and orange juice before I head to the gym in the morning to work out. After checking the scale, I see that I now weigh 270 pounds. This excites me because I've been biking, hiking, and lifting weights 5 days a week all year while working with Tony and Reforged. My healthy lifestyle is paying off, and I walk around the locker room not ashamed of how my body looks. And it just goes through my entire ideal perfect day. And all of this just helps get me, I think, in the right mindset for the day. And overall, this whole process takes 15, 20 minutes in the morning. So it's not like it's a you know what I mean? It's not a large chunk of the day. And that, I think that's really important because it helps frame my mind for the rest of the day. So like the last 2 days, I've been working from about 4:30 in the morning to about 7 o'clock at night. There's just some
Wow.
there's just some stuff in my personal business and in my actual job that needed to get done. It was very time sensitive. And it's not like I hated doing it because I'm a nerd and I was in there doing it, happily, but when it got to the point where the couple times during the day where I was just getting burnt out, I was like, all right, I recognized I was getting burnt out. I messaged, my coworker and I was like, hey, this might not get done until tomorrow, because there's only so much I can do. And then I went, it was very easily to like get on my phone and get into a video game, playing like one of those like little mind numbing apps or get on TikTok. And I do that sometimes, but I just got up. I literally went out in my backyard where the sunshine is. I sat there with my dogs for 20, 30 minutes. And I was like, all right, I feel good. I feel better. Let's get back to it. But there's also something here I wanted to read off to you guys, something that I've been reading to myself every day, and I'm going to include it inside my my ideal new year thing. And it's something I found on TikTok. I transcribed it because I felt like it was so true and it hit so home. And again, this is one of those things that just puts me in a better mood. It says, today is not like any day I've lived before. And why should it be? This very second, there are roads to be explored that I've never before walked down. There are actions to take that I've never before taken, and ideas to bring to life that I've never before given the respect they deserve. That saying, my golden rule, you are always one decision away from a totally different life. You are always one realization from pulling the lever, opening the door, finding the answers you've always been walking by all your life. The problem is you don't see today as today. You see it as a continuation of yesterday, the same movie with the same characters and the same rules, without even realizing you need to change the script. Emerson said, write it on your heart that every day is the best day of the year. Why? Because it can be. Your job is to remember the things will continue on and on and on until we give them an end. We must manually close the book on yesterday's stories and start anew, because we can. We often don't realize, but we can. And this is why the morning, each new day, is so precious. It's taking the mistakes and sometimes disappointments of yesterday and transforming them into today's lessons and the opportunity to begin again. A new journey seen through a new lens, walk through a new pair of shoes, a new sense of self. So here is your reminder that the words were and are, they're very different. That's why each sunrise transcribes into the sky the hopes and dreams of the you that you've always wanted to be. It's not a crazy formula or some secret code. It's simply untying your boat from the harbor that is yesterday and moving towards tomorrow's horizon.
God,
So-
I love it,
That's what keeps me in a good mood.
dude. I definitely need to do more of that in my life. Just like having my ideal day, a year later.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that I'm missing. There's a missing piece that I definitely need to do.
Yeah, I can always share with you guys, really anyone, it's not like super private, what my ideal day is if you wanted to base it off, base something similar. You know what I mean? Use it as like a guidepost.
We can definitely do that in like the Facebook group and stuff. If you're okay with uploading that there, that would be pretty awesome. I feel like that would be super helpful for a lot of people to really envision where they want to go. And I think that having that foundation as well can really, it's one, like at first you kind of feel like, oh, it's so far away, but then you're essentially taking steps to it every day and it gets closer and closer.
Yeah. And the whole point is you can set your New Year's resolution. Like I started this back in November. You can start your New Year's resolution and, by, March, you're like, what was my resolution again? Lose some weight, save some money, I guess travel to Bali, but this helps keep you, you're framed in mind the entire year. And then you can say, hey, you know what? Every day I'm telling myself that I'm going to weigh, 270 pounds, that I'm going to feel good in the gym, that I'm going to do this. So let's start doing that now. Right. And that's kind of how it's been helping me a lot. you know, there's very easily, especially, you know, in our personal business to, you know, be like, hey, you know what, like, I don't really know what to work on today. So let's just, you know, I guess we'll put it off for today, you know, kind of procrastinate a little bit. And, you know, with this being in there, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be selling this much stuff. I'm going to be helping this many people. This is why I'm doing this, you know, and it helps just be like, hey, you know what, I need to reach that, you know.
Freaking awesome. God, that fires me up, dude.
Right? Getting amped.
I just want to let you guys know, like, I feel like going back to like both of you guys said overall, just surrounding yourself around people who like want to see you succeed is everything.
Mhm.
I feel like you just have to find somebody who surrounds, you know, somebody who finds joy in your success, because you'll notice, like, when you're doing something well and you're getting this momentum, you'll notice when people are so hyped up for you and where others are kind of like, you know, screw you, basically. So like when you see that, you start to gravitate towards the people that find joy in your success. And you'll notice too, based on conversations, like, I feel like one sad thing I feel like has happened to, I'm sure, pretty much everybody, is like when you're so excited about something and you want to, you know, you want someone to validate it and be like, oh, it's very cool, and then that person's just like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's really, like, it's really rough. And I feel like
Yeah.
you know, especially in, you know, fitness and stuff, like when you're on your fitness journey, some people just, they're like, whatever. And then other people are like, dude, freaking awesome. Like, I can't, you're firing me up. You're motivating me. You're inspiring me to take
Mhm.
action. And I feel like a lot of the, like, a fitness can be correlated to or translated towards, you know, building your own business, for example. You know, me working on my own, you, Chris, possibly you, Grant, as well. It's one of those things where you're doing this and people are going to be like, oh, you're going to get these like negative talk. Like, I've had family members tell me, oh, you're doing this online, you're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
But they're very
Wow.
old school. Yeah, they're very
Yeah.
old school, so they have a different worldview compared to what I have. So like, I hear those voices, and at first, dude, it's so rough. And now I just hear these voices that, you know, they're squawking in the background. But like you're saying, Chris,
They're
like
just
the
talking.
microphone, yeah, they're just talking. Yeah. You turn on their microphone, basically. And
Mhm.
like, when you start getting this momentum, especially, you know, us working on all this stuff, and you start to, you know, your actions start to fit, like, you start to believe different things about yourself. You start hearing these things that don't, you know, they don't connect. Like, there's no congruency. Like, somebody's going to say, like, for example, you know, in my high school, when I was losing weight, people are like, oh, you're going to be fat forever. And then I
Yeah.
lost the weight. And then, like, I started working out and they're like, you're never going to be buff. And then I started getting some muscle. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're never going to do this. You're never going to do that. I'm just like, who are you to tell me what I'm
Mhm.
not going to do? Like, you could tell me that, but I'm just going to do the exact opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because they have that little
Always gonna be
rebelliousness.
haters.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah, if you're trying to do anything worthwhile in your life, right, whether that's for yourself or for other people, you're going to be misunderstood by a lot of people,
Mhm.
right? Like even my own, when I'm trying to do my own business, my own mom's like would call me every week and be like, "You're wasting the best years of your life," like
God.
and I was just like, "Oh, geez, like is this the only reason you called me, mom?" But but yeah, you just gotta tune them out because one thing I started realizing, especially here in the last few weeks, and I know you hear it all the time, like you're going to die, right? Like you're going to die one day, and so fuck it, blah blah blah. Well, it's like it's true, and that's what I feel like a lot of people don't realize. So stop living your life for other people, right? The way other people want you to live, because then you're just putting on this shell, and that's when you start getting depressed, and that's when you're like, oh, I can't figure out who I am. I can't be my true self because I spent all my life, just doing what other people told me to do or trying to be the person that people wanted me to be. So you guys got to get out there and figure out who you are and then be unapologetic about it. Now, it's not saying you need to be a dick or anything, but it's don't apologize for your own happiness, right? If it upsets other people, it upsets other people. Like you can't be responsible for other people's feelings or their happiness. So you just got to get out there and live your own life. And
Yeah, that's on them.
Yeah, and that's something I've just been trying hard to do these last few weeks, and it's just been liberating. It's like I had family members who are like, "Hey, why didn't you invite me to do this?" Or why didn't you tell me you were doing that? Or why are you even trying to do this? When this other thing was a failure. I'm like, because it's what I want to do. I wanted to do this by myself, or I wanted to do this, or and just, don't be a dick about it, but, just don't feel obligated to try and validate everyone's feelings. He's got to turn down their mics.
Dude, I feel like too, like also like being a dude as well, for example, like you are looked at as like this is where the double standard comes in. You're looked at as like performance, like how you do it, what job are you working at, what what title do you have, what you have, this or that. My family and my culture, they like doctor. It's like if you're a doctor, you are like at the pinnacle. you're the best you could possibly be. And like I can tell you from some of the interactions, my brother's not necessarily a doctor, but he's in respiratory. And one of the things is like, they automatically assume that him being a respiratory therapist, they're like, oh, he's a doctor. And it's like, not necessarily, he's there, but he's very passionate about what he does and he loves it. Like, that's why he went in that direction.
Mhm.
And it doesn't feel like work to him on some days, and they'll look at him and they're like, oh, you're amazing, you're doing this, you're doing that, and then what are you doing to me?
So, you're over here in a tank top on a Zoom call.
Yeah. And can you imagine, let's say, for example, I am on the tank top in a Zoom call, and the next thing you know, we this thing gets big and all this stuff happens, and then all of a sudden, like, the doctor job, doctor's cool and all, but I'm gonna you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't look at that anymore. I don't take any offense to that anymore. It's frustrating initially, but now it's like, I get their worldview. They came from a different experience, but sometimes like it's sad because like you'll hear from like other people around us, like a lot of things that really, basically it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, for example, going in this entrepreneurial route, you always hear like money is the root of all evil, for example. And I disagree with that. I think that based on who you are as a person, the money amplifies it. So if you're a terrible person and you have a lot of money, you're going to do terrible things with it, And if you're a good person and you have a lot of money, you're going to do good things with it. I feel like I just feel that way. Like for me, I don't see myself like, oh, if I'm going to have $1 million, this is what I'm going to do with it. Like if I had that money, I would probably gravitate towards doing a lot of things for the community and stuff, because it just inside of me, like this foundational thing inside of me of helping people out is more important to me than having the whole entire monetary thing. But we have to have a career, we have to get paid of a sort. So like if I'm able to fulfill needs of people, for example, helping them exercise their way out of depression, and I get paid while doing it, that's gonna, like, I can do this for a living. And that's just an incredible feeling. The money is just the icing on the cake, basically. And it's just like it's an incredible feeling. Us sitting down here, like even I was listening to you guys, I'm getting chills because I'm like, dude, some of the stuff, we're working towards this, we're working on this. And it's such an incredible feeling, guys. And I feel like, once you start getting that momentum too, you're going to see a lot of stuff. You're like, damn, look what we're doing, So ramble away, but I feel good talking about this.
Good. I know. I agree 100%. It's all about who you serve, and overall. And then, if you make money in the process, great. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, if you don't, you still helped a lot of people. And that's what I feel like a lot of people miss, or they don't understand about entrepreneurship, or the reason why people start businesses in general.
Definitely. And I feel like it's the same thing to you in the fitness journey. Once you're able to do it for yourself, you can help other people do it. I feel like now it's like for me to pay it forward, because I was on my journey, and I feel like once I learned some things from my journey in this prolonged period of time, I can pay it forward, and then you guys can pay it forward. And then there's this chain reaction that just really builds this community of like tight knit people that are just really getting shit done. Right. So go ahead, Chris.
I said we should do like a fitness challenge or something sometime.
We were definitely initially talking about this. So I'm gonna communicate with you guys about this, but we're definitely gonna be working on a fitness challenge of the sort. That's like a mood boosting challenge. And every week there's going to be a focus on it. Like 1 week is exercise, 1 week is nutrition, 1 week is sleep, but we'll formulate it together. I feel like if we have this foundational challenge that people can work towards building healthy habits around, in like a 60 to 90 day period, there's going to be a big change. Yeah, and it's not going to be things like, oh yeah, you got to do this much exercise. It's going to be like, okay, there's like levels to it, and we'll be able to customize this challenge based on where you're at on your journey. And I feel like that's super important as well. And then by the end of it, you're going to have this like foundation of what your like basically a lot of it that I'm thinking about, let's say, for example, nutrition. There's like small recommendations that you can make based on research and all these personal experiences, getting your nutrients in, getting your fiber in, and working towards that specific goal over time, you'll get a good amount of nutrients and fiber in. Or with exercise, you eventually work up to that specific goal where you see the best mood boosting improvements. So we will definitely talk about this in depth. I think that it will benefit myself too, because like one of them I was considering is like going outside and getting some sunlight. Like I don't really get much of that. I'm on the computer or working, and I'm like, dude, if I could just like go outside for a walk for like 10 to 15 minutes a day, I feel like I'll feel significantly better because I'll be away from a computer screen or away from work, and I'm just really absorbing nature and just being in that stillness.
Yeah, reconnecting.
Hell yeah. Any last words, guys?
Sorry, go ahead, Grant.
No, go for it, Chris. I was exhaling verbally.
No, my final words is I would say, just believe in yourself, turn down people's microphones and, just start showing up, right? Just start, taking the next very, very, very small step, to your next journey. That's what I'm doing. And I'm feeling much better, because of it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Grant?
So glad to hear that. My little tidbit of the week would be, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to run into hurdles, and you have two options. You either make the jump or you don't. My only recommendation is to try, is to push, is to try to be better than you were yesterday. I'm still like mind blown from that excerpt that Chris had read. I feel it like bounce around in my head. I'm like, oh my
right?
God.
It's good.
I definitely think that's something that's been really holding me back, is like reminiscing on the yesterday the most, and then worrying about what yesterday is going to be for my future, and not really looking at every day as a fresh slate, like I mentioned as far as food in the beginning of the podcast. But that's my little tidbit, is to just push.
Hell yeah.
We can do it. You can do it.
And I was gonna say, doing it, it's different for everybody. That's my little final thing. It's different for everybody, but as long as you're getting shit done, that's like a little bit out of the ordinary, like just, getting out of your comfort zone, whether it's like 5 to 10 minutes of physical activity in, that's everything, guys. Even on the worst of days, if you could get one thing done, I would say you get that physical activity done, get that movement, and you will feel slightly better. You might not feel amazing, but you will feel better. And Chris, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I can always put that excerpt in the Facebook group. Again,
Please.
I stole it off TikTok. I don't know who the original author is, so
it's all good. If he comes at us,
finders keepers.
He or she comes at us. But I just want to thank anyone that's watching us live. And then if you have any questions, throw in the comments below if you watch it afterwards. I think we should eventually get some people on, in our calls that have questions about certain things that we can really gravitate towards. But we'll definitely get into that in the future. I feel like right now we're very good conversation overall. I think this is so awesome that we're doing this every week, and I'm super excited for the rest of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think all of us just got one last question, right, guys?
Yes. Who wants to say it?
Chris.
No, go ahead.
Oh, are you sure? All right, brother. All right. Then the most important question of the day is, did you lift your mood today?
Did you lift your mood today?
Love to see it, dude. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
Have a great weekend. Take care,
guys.